Maine's coast is one of the most breathtaking stretches in New England, where harbor towns, ocean cliffs, and seaside resorts create the perfect warm weather escape. On our trip, my wife and I explored Boothbay Harbor, Kennebunkport, and Ogunquit. We stayed at two incredible hotels, walked the famous Marginal Way, tasted fresh lobster, and even found ourselves in an unexpected adventure on the water. Stick around and experience this unforgettable stretch of Maine and learn about the places, food, and adventures that made our trip so special. Before arriving here, we had just spent 3 days in Bar Harbor and Acadia National Park, which was its own adventure. But now it was time to continue down the coast, starting with Boothbay Harbor. Boothbay really won us over the moment we arrived at the Topside Inn. Perched on a hill with sweeping views of the harbor, it had that bed and breakfast charm, but with updated touches that made it feel fresh and comfortable. Inside, the inn had a cozy dining area where breakfast was served each morning, adding to that welcoming, home-like feel. Our room was clean and bright with a small balcony and a comfortable couch overlooking the water, which was the perfect spot to slow down after our Bar Harbor adventures. After checking in, we drove a short distance down the hill into town. Boothbay Harbor is lined with quaint shops, small boutiques, local galleries, and seaside stores that my wife loves to browse, and so do I. Just came to Boothbay Harbor, a quintessential New England town, and absolutely happy we came here, as this place is beautiful. Parking was easy to find in the afternoon, which made it simple to just wander and take our time. We grabbed a lobster roll from the Footbridge Fish Company food truck and soaked in the views. Later that day, we settled into the lawn chairs as the sun began to set. We made it to the Topside Inn in Boothbay Harbor after an adventurous day yesterday through Acadia National Park. Cocktails in hand, ocean air drifting in, and easy conversation with other guests made the evening feel relaxed and social. The bartender who mixed our drinks was as friendly as they come, which made it all the more enjoyable. That night, we walked down the hill to Ports of Italy, which is a cozy and authentic Italian restaurant just steps from the inn. We ate at the bar, no reservation needed, and the bartender made us feel right at home. Later that night, the skies were perfectly clear, so I stepped out onto the inn's lawn and captured a photo of the Milky Way galaxy stretching across the sky above the Adirondack chairs. The next morning turned out to be one of the highlights of the trip. Breakfast at the inn was unforgettable. Honestly, it was probably one of the best breakfasts I've had anywhere. After that, we really didn't want to leave, and both of us wished we had booked a longer stay. The Topside Inn gets a solid 5 out of 5, and we would absolutely come back. Before we head to Kennebunkport, let me know if you're enjoying the video and if Boothbay is a place you'd visit. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more travel adventures like this. On our way into Kennebunkport, we passed through the town, but our first stop was at the Nonantum Resort, our home for the next 2 nights. When we pulled in, I noticed around 8 EV chargers with plenty of open spots, which meant I could stay topped off for the entire trip. After checking in, we made our way to our second-floor room with sweeping views of the river and resort grounds. Inside, the space was bright and welcoming, with a comfortable bed, a clean modern bathroom, and plenty of room to relax. But the real highlight was the balcony, which looked out over the water. Morning coffee and evening cocktails out there quickly became some of our favorite moments of the stay. The resort sits right on the river, about 500 yards from the beach that opens to the Atlantic. I flew the drone both ways along the water, and the views were spectacular. Downtown Kennebunkport is about a mile away, and we managed to find a spot to park there, although walking or biking is also a good option. With my wife's love of shopping, we explored just about every store there. We also drove to the viewpoint across from the Bush compound, which was pretty cool to see in person, before heading to the pier to take in the ocean and the beach crowd. After a full day of travel, walking, and shopping, we capped it off with dinner at Mabel's Lobster Claw, a local classic and one of George Bush's favorite casual spots. Just a short walk from the resort, it was an easy choice. We sat outside under the awning, enjoying the food and laid-back atmosphere. Inside was surprisingly small, but that's part of the charm. One of our most memorable moments came when we took kayaks out on the river. At first, it was smooth sailing with the incoming tide and wind at our backs, but things changed quickly when a large boat passed. My wife got caught in the current and was swept under a bridge while I shouted directions and tried not to get pulled in myself. With help from people on the bridge, she made it safely to the side. It was a tense few minutes with a good reminder that what feels easy with the tide can be a real challenge on the return. The next day, we decided to make a short trip south to Ogunquit and check out the famous Marginal Way. We drove about 9 miles, roughly half an hour with some traffic, and parked at the lower lot located off River Road. It's right on the ocean and just steps away from the trailhead. I'd suggest you try and get there at least by mid-morning as we did, since the lot fills up quickly. From there, we walked about 1.25 miles along Marginal Way, which is a scenic path that hugs rocky cliffs and winds through town with the ocean breeze always at your side. Today we decided to do a quick day trip down to Ogunquit and do the walk along Marginal Way, and as you can see, the views are absolutely stunning. Along the way, we pass coves tucked into the shoreline, which are different from the wide open beaches we're used to. There were several waterfront resorts perched along the cliffs with panoramic views of the Atlantic, which are the kind of places we'd love to return to for a longer stay. Eventually, the walk led us to Ogunquit Beach, where the crowds were out in full force and lifeguards stood watch. We didn't stay long, just enough to take in the energy in the scene. On the way back, we browsed a few shops in town before returning to the lot. For lunch, we headed straight across the street to Barnacle Billy's, a local institution in Perkins Cove. We ate outside under the awning, enjoying fresh seafood, a casual vibe, and a classic New England charm, along with views of the river. After lunch, we browsed a few more shops right next to the lot before heading back to Kennebunkport. It hadn't been a full day, but between the travel, the walking, exploring, and shopping, it felt just right. All in all, we really enjoyed our road trip to Maine and were pleasantly surprised by how beautiful this part of the country is. If you've never been here, I highly recommend a visit. This was our first time here, a trip my wife had been wanting to take, and it didn't disappoint. Each stop offered something different, from small town vibes and relaxation to a mix of scenery and adventure, and even unforgettable coastal walks. It's a place we would definitely visit again. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe for more coastal travel. You'll also find a link to our Bar Harbor and Acadia adventure below, along with resources in the description to help you plan your own getaway, from hotels to vacation rentals. Thanks for watching, and I'll leave you with a few more aerial views to close things out.